So it is end of day Tuesday, and it is now getting to the stage where I need to change my disc on the machine. Not only the finishing head, I also need to change the cross-grained disc as well. So obviously, as you can see, it's looking very small and very sorry for itself, and we have a new disc to try out, a new trial disc. Shall you say it is a product test to see if it's any good? Usually we use the yellow discs or the green discs, but because this disc was obviously a new colour, I thought I'd give it a try. Slightly less expensive than the yellow disc and the green disc. You're probably talking it was around about half the price of that, so give it a bash and see how it is. Usually we did originally used to use white discs before, but it wasn't Blademaster ones that we were using, it was A&R discs originally. That was many moons ago. You're probably talking the best part of 7 or 8 years ago, but then obviously it was very difficult to get the A&R discs. You had to buy them in 6s, which it wasn't a problem because we would use them. The major problem is the UK distributor then became the Blademaster distributor, and because of that they stopped bringing in the A&R discs, because obviously they've got a right to use the Blademaster ones. So obviously what I'm going to do now is I'll set you just here, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to see everything I'm doing anyway. Let me see, there we go. So what I've got to do first is I've got to take the guard off. So the yellow guard, depending obviously what kind of machine you've got, sometimes it can be yellow, sometimes it can be red. We actually, when we had the fire, when we actually got the chance to buy the machine back from the insurance, what we decided to do was repaint the guards. So the guard was originally red, and it was then sanded down and resprayed yellow, and the finishing head was exactly the same. It came as red as well. So obviously we have these screws that have to come out first, and then I'll show you what the actual mechanism and stuff that's like. So we'll just take this out the road, put that down elsewhere. As you can see, the disc is very small. You could probably get maybe another couple of cross grinds out of that, but I tend to find it's so much easier on a bigger disc. It gets the job done a little bit better, and you find that sometimes when the disc gets smaller, the material is not really as good as what it is when it's full size. Also, I usually tend to find that sometimes the machine will, the holder will fill on the machine because it's too small. It is a very old machine. It's a 1991 machine, so obviously that's what we're looking at doing, is obviously changing this over. So we'll get our, move this over here, we'll get a spanner onto this and give it a wee loosen. So this is literally what holds this in place, is the one nut and the washer, and then this can come straight off, and while it's off we will then literally just put the next replacement back in. We'll put the washer back on, and then the nut goes back into place as well, and then we give it a little tighten. Nice and tight. So after that happens, we put these away, and we will get the guard back and slide the guard back into place, just about here. Now, sometimes it's easier if you just give it a wee assistance, a wee lift, just to try and get it to allow to bite in a wee bit more, because sometimes it can foul on there as well, on the screw. So give it a wee screw in. This is a painstaking part, and it takes the time just to make sure it's nice and tight and it's in the right position. So just double checking, tighten up the top one, tighten up the bottom one, and then that's it, all sorted. Brand new cross grind disc on. So now I'll bring you over to, believe it or not, the finishing head. So the finishing head is slightly different, as we've said and you've probably seen before. What we'll do is we'll just give it a quick thrush down. Usually the machine would get a full hoover out, but it's not actually scheduled for a full hoover. It was done at the weekend, off camera. But obviously we have utilised the disc as much as possible. So the disc is now too small to use, or too small to keep. So you literally just take these out. Now there is one issue that I have. One issue is this one here is slightly cross-threaded, and because it's slightly cross-threaded, what I'm actually going to have to do is glue it into place when I put it back in. But it's not a hardship. The machine is pretty old, like I said before, so we'll give this a little brush down, get all the debris out of it. Sometimes if you use the polishing compound, you can find that it actually makes the disc, the particles of the disc and particles of the metal, it can sometimes stick. So what we then now do is find the keyhole. So obviously you've got a Tommy bar. Tommy bar has to go into the hole, and then it is literally just a case of turning it, loosening it, taking the nut off and the washer off, and there is the old disc. Now if I compare that in size, if you're looking, it's quite a big amount of disc that's missing. There will be other people that are able to use this disc a little bit longer, but for the application that we have, I tend to find that the holder itself seems to foul on this. Obviously I tighten that up every now and then as well, just to try and make that go in as much as possible. So next on the agenda is take the Tommy bar out and just give it a little bit of a clean, just a very quick clean, as I am on the ice tonight, so I have to get home and get my kit organised. So just brush it down. If you can see, that's the kind of stuff there that I'm talking about. I think that's technically called slag, which is bits of skate sharpening dust and your actual blade itself. So we'll give that a little brush out. Make sure that we get rid of all the slag in this corner as well. Once that is nice and clean, we'll just sweep that into the sweep tray, and I can hoover that later on. So one of the other things that you tend to find that we have to do, believe it or not, I'll just stick that there just now, it's called the ring test, and the ring test is literally done like so. You've got to touch the disc with the Tommy bar just to make sure that there's no discrepancies in the disc. If there's any discrepancies in the disc, it will not sound as true ringing wise, it will sound very dull. So one of these things that you have to do is obviously test it. So the next thing that we then do is obviously put the nut back on, get it hand tight, then we're going to look for the key again, and then what we're going to do is just put the key back here and give it a nice good tighten. Before we test this one, what we'll do is we'll put the top cover back on. We'll stick the top cover back on, get it lined up nice and perfect, and we'll start with this one here. Usually anytime I'm putting the machine back together, I'll usually go side to side, so it'll be bottom right I'll usually start with, and then it'll be top left that goes in, just OCD I suppose, and they don't go all the way tight right till the end. And then you're going to do bottom left and then top right, but I'll come back after I've got that in. So that's back in place. I had to use a little bit of hot melt glue just to glue that back in, just to hold it in the right position. Obviously what I'm going to do now is set the guard on here, and now the next thing I'm going to do, loosen this off, try and get it to move out as much as possible, so that it allows me to make sure that I can get everything up to where it needs to be before I set the stone. So force of habit when you get a brand new stone, or what I tend to find is if I get a brand new stone, just make sure that the other ones are nice and tight as well. tend to find what I'll do is if I get a brand new stone, is I'll usually set the stone. It doesn't really necessarily matter what kind of grinds it's set at or what radius or depth of hollow. Usually what I'll do, just for saying sake today, I've done a lot of 3/8 grinds. So it's set at a 3/8 grind, so what I'm going to do is now turn it on and give it a quick radius. So most people would say they wouldn't do this, but it's just a wee touch of the disc just to see how it feels. Sometimes with the disc, if you just put the finishing head on and have a quick touch of it, it's not like touching hard on it, it's just like literally just skimming your finger over the top of it. What that tends to do is it gives you a kind of rough estimation or a rough idea how smooth the actual disc is itself, and if it has, say for example, any discrepancies. If you find that it's rough, then obviously it's not going to give a good finish. If it's nice and smooth, then it should realistically give a good finish. So that's the maintenance done for today. So yep, that one's for the bin, and the cross grind is already nice and flat as it is. So that's us for today. Tune in tomorrow, we'll see what we've got in store. So tonight is Wednesday. It is, let me just double check the date, the 4th of September, and I am in the process of doing some unboxing. Pamela was going to do it, but apparently she's too embarrassed. She doesn't like doing it when there's people in the shop. So here we have some sticks that we're going to be taking out the wrapper. So far I have already taken out the wrapper, the Windmill Qr6 which is quite a nice stick considering the price point of the stick. It's a wee bit heavier. It comes in the 28 curve as well, which is quite good. So it's the 128 85 flex. Nice sticks. So I'll kind of get on and do a wee bit more. Hopefully Pam will come and hold the camera for me so I can up the sticks out the wrappers. There she is. Look at the grumpy chops in that. So what other delights did we get?
We've got the Rise range.
So we got the Rise sticks as well.
Yeah.
So this is another use for a tape tiger, by the way, just in case. See if it works. So there we go. Right, get it started. Oh, interesting. It's got the shark skin kind of blade on it, which is quite good. Already it's taken all the skin off, which is quite interesting. Quite a nice stick as well, 75 flex rise and a W03.
So it's replacing the entry price point of the Covert range.
Do you know what? It's actually quite well balanced considering the fact it's an entry level stick. Obviously the grip on it's really good. Usually you find that most of the kind of entry level sticks have got rubbish grip. They feel way too heavy. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are heavy in comparison to some of the top end sticks, but they're quite nice, especially for the price points. Is this just another Rise as well?
So we've got the full range of Rise and all the flexes.
All the flexes?
All the flexes. So they come in...
That's an 85 as well. Which is exactly the
75, 85. We've got the 55 and 65.
Yep,
65 is the...
65.
So I think the 65 is the
50.
senior length. And then the 55 is the intermediate. And then you've got the junior and youth flexes as well.
Just double checking. I've got timing on a heat mould for 15 minutes, so I've got 2 minutes left. So decided to get the camera out at this precise moment.
No. Tell the truth.
She couldn't do it herself. So
No, I left them.
Because she was going to unbox them when the shop was empty. And if that had been the case, the shop might have been empty at like 8 o'clock. And by 8 o'clock it would have went, I've got no time because you had to run. You're holding the camera that direction. Focus.
You're fine.
Focus. I was all over the place
No,
there.
you weren't.
I was.
No, you weren't.
Doing your dodgy camera skills. See if you could see the face behind there. The wee pecked lip. Wee jumpy face. Right, so that's a 55 flicks, aka the wet noodles. Way too bendy for me, being the fact that I use a 110, which are very, very hard to come by. Right, so I'm pretty sure that we don't need to open all the rise ones. We know what they look like if you pan the camera around and go up and down, have a wee look at them. Oh, she missed! She missed! Good job, Pamela. Good job. No paparazzis! No paparazzis! So we have another stick that we managed to find. Pamela didn't tell me about it until the last second. It is, believe it or not, it's the Covert Qr6 Rev. Now this one is a 65 flex and it's the minimus UD carbon that's in them. To be honest with you, again, the stick is very, very light. It actually reminds me of the Sherwood Wreckers. Nowhere near as light as a Sherwood, I would say, but obviously it's very, very nice, obviously with the taper in it, the covert taper on the shaft as well. You can just see the shine kind of coming off of it there just now. Very nice stick, very lightweight, nice blade, nice finish. It's got more of a kind of natural matte finish on the blade, which is quite nice. Very, very nice, lightweight. Again, obviously no use to me due to the fact that it is a 65 flips. So that is an actual customer order for, believe it or not, Dale Gardner, who is no relation to me, but we say that he's family anyway because he's, well, it's his brother. So, hi Grumpy, what are you doing?
I was emailing a customer a list of sticks that you had very kindly pulled together for her. So I was just finishing that off, and that was it's been very busy, so that's the first piece of time to myself I've had all evening.
The camera's down there, look at the camera. Would you help if I go like that? Is that a bit for you? She's still growling again, look at that face. She's just dead grumpy today.
I had a complaint today.
From who?
Apparently I'm really hard on you and I bully you.
Well, considering like 10, well, probably about an hour ago she did try and hit me with a box over that direction.
I don't know, it was noticed.
Who noticed it?
Willie noticed it. You know. He was in
I
earlier.
know who you mean. I know who you mean, but I never seen him if he was in earlier.
Who was in?
I was too busy in the back, working.
He was complaining that I'm too hard on you.
She's evil at times. I'm a battered husband to be. So, end of shift Wednesday, everyone else is in away and I'm here by myself as usual. So I'm just about to lock up the shop and head to the gym and finish up this video. Now, one of the things that I decided that I was going to do, and I done it off camera, was basically I took the palms off a Pro Spec pair of gloves that I had custom made before. Now, most of you guys won't probably recognise this brand, but it's called Ballistic. Now, the reason they were a prominent glove back maybe something in the region of maybe 14 years ago was because they were a brand, a new breakout brand, and they were known pretty much for their carbon fibre sticks. They were known for their gloves, and originally when I designed these gloves, the ballistic ones, there is a model, the CX70s. Obviously they are a bit warm, they are very old. They've been sitting in a loft for quite a while. I decided that obviously when I designed the gloves I was going to make them a bit different. So if you can look at them and if you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to pick this up or not, but the white is actually pearlescent. It's obviously black and red with the grey ballistic name and my name and number on them. So the reason why they have made it down from the loft is the palms that were originally put on them were slightly too thick for me. They were actually apparently a pair of goalie palms that one of my friends had actually fitted to the glove. So they've been taken off now and they are going to be used on a palm repair for a pair of Alpha AX2s. So we're going to get them done over the next couple of days, hopefully. And then obviously I can make a start on the ballistic gloves and try and put something in them that's a little bit thinner. The palm that was originally in them was a Pro Spec palm. It was like a very, very smooth, you can just about see it there, it's a very smooth perforated leather. That's usually the same kind of liner that was put in a pair of my custom graph skates, and they were very, very, very soft and very smooth and very, very nice to use. Unfortunately they ended up in the washing machine because gloves smell and the palms disintegrated, so they're not obviously very good that way, but we have a pair of CCM Pro palms that I'm probably going to end up putting inside of the ballistics for sentimental sake, just in case I need them at any point. Now, something that is changed over the years is I used to wear a 15-inch glove. I have been known to wear a 13 depending on the model. Right at the moment I'm in a 14-inch glove, and the 14 seems to be kind of bang on where I need to be at the moment. The only reason why I thought about changing to going back to these gloves is they were very, very big, very comfortable. They weren't very cumbersome, they weren't heavy, but they were very, very light. They were way ahead of their time. Now again, the reason why you don't see Ballistic anymore is because Ballistic were bought over by Combat Hockey, and Combat Hockey were then subsequently bought over by Bauer back in the day. So realistically it's just a custom pair of Bowers. That's what everybody was kind of winds me up about, but they're not necessarily custom Bowers. Like I say, they're Ballistics. It's a little piece of hockey history for you. So anyway, with that said, the domestic violence with Pam has now finished. She's away home, so she's now happy. She's not in the shop looking at me, grumping at me. But other than that, we are going to tie up this video right now, and we will catch you on the next one. Keep it gold blooded.